Welcome to the offensive. Brandon Perna stole my fur coat. We paused the 30 for 30 just for a second to talk about breaking news. Christian Watson, 4 years, $110 million, 31 guaranteed. The internet, guys, is going nuts right now. Nuts. All the NFC North fans think it's terrible. They think it's a terrible contract. They're like, how dare you pay this man that's been injured so much? We've got Neckbeard, Derek here, co-host of the show, and we've got Book of Eli on the show. Eli Berkovits, never pronounce his name correctly, but that makes him an enigma. Eli, welcome to the show. All right, me and Derek have been talking about this. I'm super pro this thing. I already posted a video with my shirt off. You know, that's how pumped I am about this. Like, Christian Watson's the guy we need on this team as much as anybody. We need him as much as Tucker Kraft, I think, because to take the top off the defense. You see what happens when he's gone. The defense just walks up 3 yards and just it's like you're not going to be able to do anything underneath. You can't run the ball, even though we can already. I mean, if you could or whatever, right? So, yeah. What do you guys think? Let's go to both of you guys. Let's go to Eli first. You're the guest on the show. What's your first initial reaction to this breaking news?
I loved it, just like you guys. I mean, I think Christian Watson is basically the biggest X factor on this offense, obviously, I guess, outside of Jordan Love. But in terms of playmakers, it's a completely different offense when he's on the field versus when he's not on the field. The things he can do, even when he's not getting the ball, he forces defenses to play you differently. And it was almost like, and obviously on a much lesser scale, but like if you remember back with MVS, even with him, obviously not as good of a player as Watson, he alone, because of his speed and deep ball ability, forced defenses to play you differently. And obviously Watson does that on a much larger scale where it's like, without him, yes, Matthew Golden has the speed to challenge you deep, but he doesn't necessarily have the size to do it and that contested catch ability that Watson is just so good at. So, yes, on paper,
and also run blocking. He's got the size and frame to run block.
He's a nasty blocker. He has no problem getting dirty in the run game, which you love to see from any receiver. And Russ Ball, again, the magician for the Packers, put together a very nice contract. If you're just like a casual, you see, 4 years, $110 million. It seems like a lot of money. Watson has had a struggle to stay healthy, but $31 million guaranteed and a contract of $110 million is incredibly low. And I think the Packers did a good job of just getting it done, right? We just saw Drake London yesterday get a massive contract. And every day with these kind of contracts, every day you wait is just the contracts going up. It's never going down. So there's no point in waiting. You knew this was going to have to happen sooner or later. So I'm happy to get it done in June, go into training camp, no drama, and let's get going.
Yeah, Drake London got 4 years, 141 million.
Yeah. So here's the actual details. 4 years, 110.5 million. Right, 26.6 AAV and 31 million guaranteed. Right, so that puts him at the 15th highest paid receiver in the league. So I think that's why a lot of people are freaking out, because if you look at his stats over the last 4 years, it's nowhere near a top 15 wide receiver. However, again, this is based on projection, not based on past performance. And I think you're right, Doug. If we waited till next offseason to sign him, we're looking at $32 million a year potentially.
Or even the end of the season. Say he makes it through 8 games healthy, you're already paying over $30 million.
Especially if he has a good year, then that number is just going to go up. He could be maybe up closer to the top.
Dude, imagine if the Packers' offensive line is actually good and his numbers per game actually go up because they have time to throw him the ball.
So I guess that's my question, because I am excited. Like, me and Doug went back and forth a little bit because I was like, whoa, that is a lot of money. Let me see the guarantees before I make a decision, right? Because the guarantee was what I was really worried about because of his injury history. And 31 million, I think, is an excellent number for Christian Watson's guarantees, which means basically we're locked in for 2, potentially 3 years if we decide that, if there is injuries in the future. And we have to lock him up. We have to lock up Christian Watson. And this is what I said to Doug. I think some people are freaking out about the actual yearly number of 27. But if you think about that over the course of the next 4 years and what he has potential to become, I think it's a very fair number. And I would also say, I think Christian Watson is closer to $27 million a year in value than Romeo Doubs is to $19 million a year in value.
Yeah.
And that's not me crapping on Romeo Doubs. I love Romeo Doubs. But what Christian Watson can bring to our offense is much more valuable. And I'll even go to Kurt Benekert, who said this specifically about his time with the Packers. The way the LaFleur offense works is that big X receiver that pushes you down the field, that makes the safety come over, is such an important part of LaFleur's schematics and schemes that Christian Watson is massively valuable to this offense. And you can see it in the production when he's there versus where he's not there, not even just necessarily depending on his actual numbers, but just on how the offense itself performs. So I'm hugely in favor of this contract. I just am being a little bit of a skeptic and being more of a numbers guy. Am still worried about his injuries, and I hope he lives up to it is my main thing.
Well, we keep forgetting too that like there's many games like the Lions game where like we are just kind of not sure what's going to happen. Then boom, 70-yard touchdown, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, you know, Packers get kind of bogged down where sometimes they'll just like slowly over the game, like fade out and play worse. Once that starts happening, all of a sudden, boom, 70-yard touchdown, Christian Watson, and you're just like right back, you know? And I'm like, without that on the team, obviously Tucker Kraft's there and everything, but like, what are defenses going to be afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of on our offense.
No,
without Christian Watson there.
And the tight end, as much as tight ends have a different level of importance, I think more now than ever in the NFL, a tight end is never going to be as dangerous as a wide receiver. They're just not, because they can't beat your safety deep. And if they do, it's because you screwed up, not because, you know, you got out schemed or something. So wide receivers are just different. And the way the NFL is right now, your receiver that takes the top off that quote unquote X receiver is your most valuable position outside of left tackle and quarterback. Like it really just is. So, and we paid him like it. And again, I'm here for it. Here's the thing, Packers fans and NFC North fans and everybody else needs to understand. There is no scenario in the history of the world or the future of the world where the Packers screw up their cap numbers. They are better at this than you are. They are better at this than everybody else. They know when they're paying a guy, what they're paying for and how it's going to work and how it's going to affect them in the future. They are cap wizards. So the money doesn't even bother me. And the fact that they got him for $31 million guaranteed shows you how good they are at this. I think that's an excellent number. So
yeah, and like in 3 years from now, that's going to be like crazy cheap. Like you're going to be like, he might hold out for more money if he stays healthy at 6'4", running how fast he does. If Jordan Love has time to throw to him, bro, $27 million is going to be like bottom of the barrel money.
I would say if he has 3 good years, he'll renegotiate before the last year of his contract for sure. Especially since there's no guaranteed money.
I wanted them to give him a contract like this a year ago, even though like he hadn't proved like he could be healthy. But I just saw in the elements when he was healthy, even before the ACL, he was playing pretty damn good. He's elevated his game and played. He's constantly gotten better and better. And if you really watch the games, you could see him playing way better over the years. So I wanted this to happen like way long ago, because it's like, if you don't sign him, what are you doing? Who's going to take the top off the defense? Are you going to trade for somebody? Are you going to draft somebody and wait 3 years for them to develop? Like, you know what I mean? Like your other options are really not good.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, okay, let's talk about Jayden Reed for a second, because Jayden Reed signed a very Packers-friendly contract. Eli, could you speak to us to why you think we are willing to give $100 million to Christian Watson over 4, but we gave Jayden Reed a 3-year, $50 million deal? What's your opinion on that?
Well, first off, like you said, I think not only is this like clear based on the number, but I think it's been basically reported that Jayden Reed just gave us a hometown discount, which he obviously, I think if he wanted to hold out and he had a good year this year, he certainly could have got more money than that on the open market. He's a very talented player. I also think, though, being a slot receiver, a smaller guy, it makes sense. Yes, you're not going to get that massive contract, but no question, Jayden Reed gave us a good bargain on that deal. And much like Watson, like if Reed stays healthy and has 2 good seasons right now, I'm sure he's going to negotiate for a raise. I mean, we just saw Nico Collins get a raise, seeming, right after signing an extension a year or 2 ago. At Surtain, a cornerback, but still, like when a guy signs an extension, but they play halfway through that extension and they're very good, they'll negotiate for a raise. And hey, if Watson plays up to this deal for the next 2 years, I have no issue giving him a raise. In general, like I think I used to care more, but I'm sort of a believer in the whole like salary cap isn't real and like teams just figure it out. Signing bonuses, this, that, pushing it down. Like, could it eventually one day down the line hurt you? Maybe, but it doesn't generally seem like you said, Russ Ball and this organization is so good at this stuff where we've talked about this for like since the Rodgers prime, where they were signing him and the receivers and offensive linemen and Clay Matthews and Charles Woodson, where it's like, oh, the day's going to come where it's going to come back to bite us. I don't know. Has it really? Like,
no, we're not the Saints. Like we don't go 75 million over the cap. And like, let's think about it too. How many times do the Packers sign like aging expensive free agents? Because that's where the cap really gets you, is when you're signing 28, 29, 30-year-old guys to really expensive contracts, which the Packers just don't do. We just don't do that anyway. So what are we going to use this cap money for if not to pay our own guys? Right. That's
what I was about to say. Like, we're so accustomed, like over the last few years, Goody has definitely done it a little more, for sure, more than Ted Thompson ever did. But we're still not a team or a fan base that come free agency. We're like, all right, we're about to spend big money and we're expecting it and we need it and this, that. Like, we build through the draft, we add free agents or make trades when necessary. And it's rarely to, like you said, a player that's basically it's the guy's second contract. We're almost never giving big money to a guy in his third contract.
Yeah.
So we're good with that stuff. And just, again, like, I think Watson, his gross total numbers aren't amazing. And that's almost completely because of the fact that he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Obviously, the hope is that's behind him. Last year, he came back from the ACL, didn't miss a single game from the time that he returned. Came back week 8, played through the rest of the year. Per Target, Nate Tice from Yahoo tweeted, out of 117 receivers with 200 routes last year, Watson was 10th in first downs per route, 4th in yards per route, and 3rd in explosive plays per route. Like, he is the kind of guy that, and I think you could say this about him, you could probably say it about Matthew Golden last year, like, you put him in an offense that doesn't have a coach who refuses to, like, feature players in a normal way, I think Watson has much bigger numbers than he does. And I hope now that Dobbs and Wicks are gone, not that I dislike those players, but that's what it is. They're gone. You're going to have a more concentrated targets to Watson, Reed, Golden, and Kraft. And I think those numbers are definitely going to go up. And also, you never want to, like, force feed a player to justify a contract. But at the end of the day, you pay Watson like this, I think they are going to give him the ball more often. I mean, at the end of the day, last year, I mean, I'm just looking at his targets, 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 5, 5. Like, that number, I think, needs to be around 7, 8 a game minimum. And I get that he's not like a slot guy catching screen passes or 3-yard routes, and most of his stuff is a little deeper downfield. But it's not the only things he can do. He can run a good slant route. He can run a drag route or a mesh route and catch the ball 4 yards downfield and turn that into a much bigger play. So overall, a huge fan of this. Another great tweet I saw from Wendell Ferreira, part of Packers Twitter, I'm sure many of you know. The Packers EPA per play with Watson on the field was 0.88. Without him, 0.24. That's a pretty massive drop.
That is huge.
Yeah, massive drop. And then in success rate, and this won't seem huge, but I'll give some context. Success rate goes from 46.1 to 44.2, which may not seem like a huge number, but that just those 2 percentage points drops you from the 10th most successful team to the 17th most successful team. So a top 10 team to a middle of the pack at best team. Yeah. Watson is the biggest difference maker on this offense. As good as Tucker Kraft is, as good as I think Matthew Golden can be, as good as I think Jaden Reed is, Watson just completely changes. Like we talk about a lot of times in the draft, like guys that change the math for defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators. Watson's a guy that changes the math for defensive coordinators. You have to have a safety dedicated. If Jordan Love sees Christian Watson one-on-one in press coverage with no safety over the top, I don't think he cares what the play is, how open Watson is. It does not matter. He's throwing that ball up one-on-one. He's giving him a chance. And more times than not, he comes down with it. So it's a serious game changer.
There's a thing that people are forgetting. Christian Watson came back like after week 8. Tucker Kraft got injured right around there. So all those numbers of how the game that Christian Watson elevates the offense, that's when Tucker Kraft was not playing also.
Yeah.
So the offense was doing way better and Tucker Kraft wasn't there. Like the difference when Watson's on the field is night and day for the Packers. It is a huge difference.
And this, by the way, I think we all agree that Tucker Kraft outside of Jordan Love is our best offensive player. I mean, you could throw maybe someone else in there, but I think Tucker Kraft is our best offensive player. But the tight end position is just different. Like we talked about earlier, the wide receiver position is just more important, especially in this Matt LaFleur offense, having that receiver that pushes the safety down the field just opens up so much else for the rest of us, which means that Tucker Kraft could feast more. And to your point, Eli, like if he doesn't get 7 targets a game, I'm fine with that. I feel like we need to do a little bit more of taking what the defense is giving us. And I agree with you. I don't want to feed anybody. So I'm happy to see Christian Watson get a 3 or 4 target game and then get a 9 target game the next week and then go back to a 5. And we feature Tucker Kraft for a week or Jaden Reed for a week. And I think Jordan Love especially is good at taking what the defense is giving him. He's not going to force feed people. I think he got into maybe a mode last year early, force feeding Romeo Doubs sometimes just because Christian Watson was out, Jaden Reed was out, right? And you know, we were using Tucker Kraft a lot, but this is the thing: if all 4 of those guys are healthy, and you throw Savion Williams in there, we've got 5 viable receiving threats, I think, for Jordan Love, and they haven't played. This is crazy, but all year last year there wasn't a single game where Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Tucker Kraft were on the field together. There wasn't a single game where all 3 of those guys are on the field. So I don't even think we know how good this offense can be. And I'm happy he's locked up. You know, I am. I'm just happy he's locked up. I'm happy Jaden's locked up. So now we got to pay Tucker Kraft. So let's talk about that. Do you guys expect Tucker Kraft to get paid this year before training camp?
I think they have to.
I agree.
Like, I think, just like we said with Watson, waiting is only going to make it more expensive. Right now, George Kittle has the highest tight end contract, 4 years, $76 million, 76.4. Trey McBride right behind him at 76. Like, I would say because Kraft's coming off the injury, maybe you do like a 3-year, like $65 million extension if you can make that happen. Like, you do want to be careful, a guy coming off an injury, but we just saw Kraft post that video yesterday. Like, he looks good. I think he's playing week 1. I'm not overly concerned about Kraft. We see guys come back from ACLs, just like we saw Christian Watson last year do it. So Tucker Kraft, like you said, yes, he's a tight end, but you can argue he's the best player outside of Jordan Love on the offense, maybe even on the team. So, yeah, you want – well, Michael Parsons. But you want to lock him up because if Kraft goes out and has the year we think he can have, forget, you know, I mean, he's obviously going to be the highest paid tight end, but I think like tight end is becoming so important. And we saw the way it just got drafted in the NFL draft this year. I think these contracts are going to start going from 4 years, $75 million to like 4 years, like $90 million. It's going to be one of those jumps, like kind of we saw with guard and center, defensive tackle. I don't think we're going to do, all right, the next big tight end contract will be 4 years, 80. No, I think there's going to be that jump where all of a sudden the top tight end is getting 4 years, 85, 90, maybe even more. So yeah, I think it's inevitable that you pay him. So I don't see why you would wait unless, and I'm not a salary cap expert, but unless they just simply do not have the money for this year because of the Watson and Reed contracts. But I don't think that's the case, knowing us.
No, we've got the money. And like, honestly, so because it's an extension too, they don't have to start the money now. They can start that payment next year. Right. And so my estimation would be honestly a 4-year deal around 72 to 75, but maybe the 4th year is like no guaranteed money, or like, you know, if there's something built into where if we cut him, it's like almost no dead cap value or something like that. Cause my estimation would be Tucker Kraft's going to be probably the third highest paid tight end in the league. I mean, they could potentially make him the first. But I think McBride and Kittle have a little bit more history to kind of back up those contracts. Not to say Tucker Kraft isn't worth it, but I could see about 72 million over 4 years, and the 4th year just kind of be like a throwaway year. And then after 2 years, he'll probably negotiate again if he has a really good season. So, and there's money for it. And I want to see him signed right away. And like, I think getting Reed locked up, getting Tucker locked up, getting Watson locked up. We got 3 more years of Golden. We got 3 more years of Savion, which means Jordan Love's not going to have a lot of turnover in the guys he's throwing to for 3, maybe 4 seasons. That is a recipe for success in the NFL. It really is. I mean, can you guys think about the last time we had like the same receiving core for like 3 or 4 years? It was the Rodgers era when we had Devontae Jordy and Donald Driver, basically, right? And just and Randall Cobb for like that 3-4 year stretch, before eventually we moved on. So, and that's when he was cooking, man. So I'm very excited to lock these guys up. I think to say Christian Watson earned the money, fine, you can argue about that. But to say Christian Watson isn't worth the money, I just think you haven't been watching him play enough. I think he's worth the money. I just really want him to stay healthy. That's my only concern.
Dude, you guys, right now in the comments on Eli's Twitter post, people are arguing he's not worth the money, and all the arguments are things like a Ravens fan is saying that he's only getting touchdowns because they scheme him open in the red zone. And I'm like, have you ever watched a football game in your life? And he goes all these stats. And I'm like, literally 2 out of 6 touchdowns last year were under 20 yards. All the rest of them were like 45, 68, 35.
Well, plus, like, if you can scheme a guy open in the red zone, isn't that worth paying a guy for? Isn't that what we want? A guy that we can
red
scheme
zone
open?
pretty well. But that's the whole point is, like, these guys have no idea what they're talking about. His job on the team is to catch 50-yard touchdown passes and stretch the defense, and he's very good at it.
Yeah.
That's what he's paid
extremely
for.
Good at it. Like I make fun of him a little bit for tracking the ball in the air because of that one where he turned around and it hit him in the helmet. But like, let's be honest, like as deep receivers go, as deep threats go in the NFL, or at least very much on our team, he is by far the biggest threat we have. And Golden, again, is a different kind of threat, right? He's got speed, but I mean, there's no cornerback in the league that can match up with Watson on a one-on-one ball deep. They just can't do it. And you pay for that. That's what you do. You pay for that because you can't find guys like that. So yeah, I'm excited. So, all right, we got Tucker Kraft coming up. We've got also, this is something to consider too, guys, is that Jordan Love, not next year, but the year after, Jordan Love's probably going to get a new contract next year too, because after 2027, his cap hit goes up to $75 million on the last year of his contract. And there's no way they're letting that play out. So they'll sign him to another 5-6 year contract. So all this money that we're paying to Reed, well, we're not paying Reed a lot, but this money we're paying to Watson and we're paying eventually to Kraft, it's like we're going to find a way around it. Like the cap is not the problem, guys. The cap is not the problem. Don't even worry about it. Not for 1 second.
Also, like again, if we were a team that constantly built through free agency, maybe, but even still where it's like people look at the cap and act as if the money is coming out of their bank account. It's like, dude, would you rather be able to like go to sleep at night saying, oh my gosh, the Packers have so much cap right now, but have no players? Or would you rather go to sleep knowing that Jaden Reed and Christian Watson are locked up? Soon Tucker Kraft will be locked up. Like, I don't care, going into this season, right? We're in June. Free agency's behind us. The draft's behind us. What does it matter if the Packers have $1 million in cap or $30 million in cap? You're not making some sort of splash free agent signing right now. So you might as well use every penny you have to lock up the guys now before it just gets more expensive. People get, I mean, Doug, you were saying it on Twitter. It's just hilarious the way, number one, people just look for reasons to be upset. Like 80% of the comments are, I mean, every time I refresh my phone, it's just like a new batch.
Dude, your tweet's going nuts. You have like 150 responses.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's just like, and it makes me laugh because, like, number one, clearly you don't watch football. Like, I get it, we're Packer fans. You could say we're biased, but anyone who like watches tape, like let's say in the fantasy community or just guys that love ball, everyone talks about Christian Watson. Like, if only this guy could stay healthy, he is so damn good. And it's the same conversation that they had with Matthew Golden last year. It's the same conversation people have about Jordan Love, where it's like people who just watch Red Zone will see 2 or 3 really boneheaded plays by Jordan Love a year, which he'll make a couple a year, fine.
Yep.
But then they don't actually watch down to down to down to down, the kind of throws that he makes, the arm talent he has. And then they go on Twitter and be like, did you not see that one throw out of his 500 attempts last year? That was terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, even Aaron Rodgers, yes, maybe not the bad decisions, but whatever. Even the best quarterbacks are going to make a couple bad throws out of a 500 pass attempt season. So people, I mean, I tweeted it earlier, but I think it's true. Like, if you looked at this Christian Watson contract and lost your mind or started laughing, oh, the Packers were so dumb, what are they doing? You don't watch football on the level that you should to give your opinion on the internet in this way, where it's like you're entitled to your opinion, but to go on the internet and start bashing people or teams for doing contracts when it's like you're a fan of whatever team you're a fan of. You watch their games. Maybe you watch some Red Zone. You watch some primetime games. But if you're not watching and seeing the difference Christian Watson makes, then you probably just shouldn't talk because you're making yourself look real stupid.
Well, they also don't watch any actual decent, smart people about football because every single reporter I saw predicted he was going to get around $30 million or more if they waited even a little bit longer. Like
I was seeing like 28 to 29 is their expectation. So we got 27.3. It's like, we even got a little bit better of a deal and we got really low guarantees. So like the Packers did not shoot themselves in the foot they actually benefited themselves because now he's locked up for at least 3 years, potentially 4. We'll see how that goes. And honestly, Eli, I want to talk about your point about Jordan Love. Like, anyone that thinks Jordan Love isn't an elite quarterback just isn't watching football. Number 2 in EPA per play last year. Number 1 historically on third down percentage last year. Unbelievably good, right? His percentage of bad throws was like one of the lowest in the NFL. His turnover ratio, one of the lowest in the NFL, right? The only player in the NFL that had a better like QBR and EPA per play last year was Drake May. And everyone's talking like Drake May's the next coming. Right. And, you know, it's like pick your poison, guys. Like you could choose the flashy quarterback like Caleb Williams because he made a couple good throws, or you can have a guy like Jordan Love who on every single possession is carrying the team and making the right decision.
Well, modern society loves Caleb because he's flashy. He's the cover of Madden. He's literally doing the Jordan Jumpman on Madden cover. And I'm like, bro, what does society devolve to? Where it's like, you have like maybe 3 or 4 really nice ends of games in the fourth quarter, and you got to give him credit for that, sure. But now, because you did like 3 or 4 good things, now you're like comparing yourself to Michael freaking Jordan.
Now, to be fair, Caleb had 6 come from behind victories, and in half of those, it was kind of his fault. They weren't winning anyway.
That's what I'm saying. It's often his fault because he's not playing well.
At the end of the day, all you got to do is win. So if you win, you win, right? And also, like, Chicago has never had a good quarterback, guys. Like, we're spoiled. We forget, right? Chicago is a major city that has never had a good quarterback. And the fact that Caleb was better than decent last year, they're excited. Like, let him be excited. Let him be excited. Let him be on Madden and get the curse. I'm all about it. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. Get the curse. Get the Madden curse. You know, if it still exists. We'll see. That's up for debate.
It exists. I mean, I don't even know if you need the Madden curse. The bottom line, like, we saw it with the Vikings, I think, in that 2023 season. They won like 14-3 with Kirk Cousins. They had that great, like, I think they won like 11 games that year on fourth quarter comebacks. And then the following year, the Chiefs, when they started the year, like, what was it, 13-0, 14-0, like 9 or 10 of those wins were fourth quarter comebacks. And both the Vikings and the Chiefs the following year missed the playoffs. And like, you can't expect to survive year over year over year where it's like, all right, there's 6 minutes left. We're down by 11. We're going to just turn it around and win this game now. No doubt it was impressive what they did last. But, like, if they think, you know what, guys, we could do the same thing again this year, it's not going to work. And Caleb Williams, I'll say it, like, I think pure arm talent is one of the most talented in the NFL. There's no question. But in terms of reading a defense, recognizing defensive coverages and schemes, he is not there. And, like, I actually just spoke to someone from USC who was there while Caleb Williams was there, and obviously was a big fan of Caleb Williams as they didn't win that many games, to be honest, at least in his last year there. But he said, and I won't use exact quotes because I don't want to call him, but like basically said that Caleb Williams was not the smartest quarterback he's been around in terms, and like not even close, basically. Like, it's just like, he was like, look, the guy has insane arm talent, but we had real problems getting him to recognize defenses, recognize coverages, call out blitzes pre-snap, call out shifts in the secondary, where it's like, and that is why they struggled the way they did. And if you think you're going to be able to just come back in fourth quarters and, you know, on the run, like, yes, he'll make some crazy throws, but those are the kind of things that you need to have as addition to like the basic fundamentals of quarterback play that I think he still has a long way to go. Could he get there? For sure. I think having Ben Johnson certainly helps a lot. Like, in terms of like my concern level amongst the division and all that and the Bears, I have a much more concern about the fact that I think Ben Johnson will be there for years and years than Caleb Williams.
I agree. I'm actually go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was say I'm more worried about the Lions this year than I am the Bears. Like, way more worried about the Lions. I think the Lions had a bit of an off one last year. They lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter. They lost a lot of games not going for it on fourth down and missing it like 3 times in a row. So, like, I think the Lions are much more dangerous to us than the Bears this year, because you made the point, Eli. And also the Washington Commanders. Remember, the Washington Commanders 2 years ago had all those fourth quarter comebacks. They were amazing. They were exciting. They made it to the NFC Championship game. And guess what? You can't win 7 or 8 games a year by one score in the fourth quarter. Like, it just doesn't ever translate. So do I think the Bears are a threat? Absolutely. That is not me saying they're not. And I think they're more of a threat in the next 2, 3, 4 years, actually, than they are this year. But I think the Lions to me are the scariest. And I think that Caleb has a lot to work on. He has a lot to work on. But it is exciting when he just chucks the ball up to a guy and he catches it 40 yards down the field when no one's covering him.
Is he going to have top 2 elite offensive line play the rest of his
No,
career?
He's not. Eli touched on it. He's not good at calling out blitzes. Do you know what the Bears did? They went out and got Drew Dahlman, who I think was maybe the best or second best center in the NFL. They got him from the Falcons, signed him to a contract. He took that offensive line, took it over, and took it from like the 29th best offensive line to like the second best offensive line last year. But then he retired, and he's gone now, right? And so they're bringing in other guys. I think people don't realize the impact that Drew Dahlman had on that offensive line and how quickly he changed it, because he's the one calling out the protections, right? He's the one that's calling out the blitz packages. He's the one that's setting up that offensive line for success. Caleb's not the one calling those things out. And now that he's gone, I don't know if it's going to go to the new center or if it's going to go to Caleb, but I can guarantee you right now, they're not going to perform at the same level they performed last year. Dahlman was just that good. He was just that good. And, you know, he retired, and that happens sometimes.
Real quick, Ian Rappaport, this was posted by the Sleeper NFL account 2 hours ago. Rappaport on Tucker Kraft extension this offseason. I would consider Tucker Kraft a big-time priority for the Packers. You're talking about a guy who will probably reset the tight end market. So maybe 4 years, $80 million, you know, which whatever, $20 million a year
fine.
for Kraft, I don't care. I'm not losing any sleep over that.
I'd pay Kraft 23, and I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep over it right now.
No, with how valuable he is, both as a blocker and obviously as a receiver. And you see, like much like Watson, maybe a little bit of a lesser scale because it's tight end. But, I mean, the difference he made, I mean, you just don't see tight ends be able to do what he can do after the catch, where you could throw him a 4-yard pass and turn it into 12 yards, like routinely. I mean, when he was starting, like as a rookie, and at least in the fantasy community, everyone compared him to George Kittle. His yak per reception was like historically high. And they're like, all right, he's like a baby Kittle or a Kittle Jr. And now it's like he's overtaken George Kittle in terms of what he does after the catch. We saw it last year. And just seeing what he did versus Pittsburgh, and then obviously the following week versus Carolina is when he tore his ACL. But like what he did in that game versus Pittsburgh, I think he had like 4 or 5 different catches where he gained like 12 to 15 plus yards after the catch.
Yeah.
To do that as a tight end, it's unprecedented. So 4 years, $80 million, please. I do
Plus
not
his
care.
leadership skills, right? Like his mentality on the team. He brings grit.
Yeah.
He was number 1 in the NFL in yak yards before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Like when do tight ends lead the league in yak yards ever? You know, like, it's unprecedented. Like you said, he's worth every penny. I mean, obviously we want to save money if we can. We love the hometown discount, Jaden Reed, but like if Tucker Kraft wants a bag, give it to him. Like, give it to him. Like, we haven't, just think about this. We were actually, me and Doug were talking about like historical Packers tight ends like a few weeks ago on our show. And we're like, dude, we haven't had anybody good at the tight end position in our lifetime, really. I mean, Chamorro was good. Yeah, I don't want to hate on him. Like Chris Jackie, or not Chris Jackie. That's
Bubba Frank was all right.
Keith Jackson, we had for like a season and a half. Remember, he was pretty good. Like we got a good year out of Tunyon. You know,
I mean, Finley would have been that guy, but then
we thought so, but it didn't work out. Right? He didn't work out. So like we haven't had a good tight end in a long time, and maybe we just don't understand the value of it. Because Tucker Kraft is worth every penny. I'm fully down with him being the number 1 paid tight end in the NFL. I am fully down with that. But obviously, as a fan, you want to save money. But I'm not going to lose a wink of sleep over whatever.
They might get a good deal, though. I mean, he's coming back from an ACL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looks like he's doing great.
Again,
but like, you know,
my whole thing with these Packers offensive weapons is injuries. Like Jaden Reed's had injuries. Kraft got his first injury. Christian Watson's had injuries, right? So like, we just need him to be healthy. I don't care what we pay him. I just want them all to be on the field at the same time.
Isn't this just the modern NFL, though? Like, people get injured way more often than they used to.
They do, but this is why you need depth at those positions. This is why you sign 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers that can fill in, right? Yeah. And, you know, we might miss Dobbs, I think, at first, just because Jordan Love and him had such a good rapport. Because what was Dobbs' best ability, guys? Availability. He missed 1 game. He missed 1 game, right? But if you had to guess, like if you had to pick between Dobbs, Watson, Reed, and Golden, who you thought the best receiver was, no offense to Romeo Dobbs, but I would pick every single one of those guys over Romeo Dobbs. But availability. Availability is the best ability. And Romeo Dobbs had that. I'm glad he got paid. I'm glad he got his money. But I think it's pretty clear to me that Reed and Watson are just better overall receivers, and we'll see what Golden's potential is. But I have high hopes for Golden.
Well, Savion might be a surprise too. We don't really know what he can actually do, right? He's young. He hasn't, Golden, it leaked that Golden had a hard time grasping the offense. So Savion, is similar. Takes some people a while in this system. Jordy Nelson took 3 years to really do a whole lot. Savion could come out of nowhere and played pretty well. He might not have the greatest route running, but he has good hands. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he's like a running back. He can kind of do stuff with the ball. So I'm kind of interested to see like if he can develop and start to like kind of mature in the offense.
I need them to get Savion involved. Number one, because I actually think he's insanely talented. Like he has holes in his game, and the drops in college were problematic. But like I said it when after the draft, like on Pack-A-Day, myself, Matt Freilich, and Rob Rager do the day 2 recap. So obviously we drafted Golden, and then day 2 we drafted Belton and Williams. And obviously Savion was a huge surprise coming after drafting Golden. But I said it then, and I still believe it. We're like, if you told me in like 3 years from now, I mean, obviously it was easier to say it before his rookie season, but Savion Williams was like a top 10 all-pro caliber receiver, I would not have been surprised. Like he has some of the most freakish natural athleticism, size, speed, contested catchability. And you drafted him in the 3rd round, which even for me, being a big fan of his, was potentially higher than I thought. He was like an early day 3 guy. You take him in round 3. So I thought, wow, you draft Golden in the 1st, and then you draft another receiver you probably didn't even need. And you drafted him probably higher than most people had him. You must really love this guy. And you must really want to get him involved. And then he barely played. And I get it. He was down on the depth chart, this, that. But what would you guys guess? Over under in terms of ADOT for Savion Williams last year, over under 1 yard.
Over.
1.5. The guy's average depth per target was 1.2 yards last year.
Yeah, because screen passes.
Like, that's ridiculous. That is not like, I get it. He is good with the ball in his hands. You could run him, you could throw him screens, but he is a massive guy. And some of his greatest plays at TCU were deep down the field, going up and using that size over over defenders. So they need to have a better plan for him, because if they just use him like that, then I'm sorry, like you wasted a 3rd round pick. Because
I was gonna say the one catch I remember from him down the field was an amazing catch that he made, like a 40 yards on the far hash mark, right? And
it was his only target the entire year that I think was like over literally, I think, a yard downfield. Like literally, right now, looking at it, in 1, 2, 3, 4 games, he had a negative ADOT. So his average depth of target was behind the line of scrimmage. One game was a 1 yard depth of target. And then the Giants game, he had 1 target. It was 32 yards downfield. So literally, like, I get he has an interesting skill set, but I don't think you draft that guy in the 3rd. Like, you want to draft a guy in like the 6th or 7th round who's going to be purely a gadget guy. Great. You don't draft that guy in the 3rd round. What was it, 90th overall, whatever it was. So they need to. I get he's going to be at best. What would he be? 4th in at the receiver depth chart. But still, like, get him on the field, see what you could do with him downfield. Because imagine that you have Watson and Savion on each ends with Reed or Golden in the slot. No team has 2 corners that can put up with that size and speed on the outside. So I hope LaFleur has a better plan for him, because otherwise I just feel like you wasted that pick. And it's also just, I think, not even fair to Williams, because I think he's a good player.
I mean, I think he's going to have to play a lot this year, because I mean, we were just talking about injuries. Guys are bound to get dinged up, miss a game here or there. So even if he's 4th on the depth chart, like, he's going to be starting at some point, probably a game this year, right? Or at least get 5 or 6 targets. So I think because he was buried on the depth chart, because we had Wicks and Dobbs, who had both been there for 4 years at that point, excuse me. It was hard for him to find his way in. So LaFleur invented ways to get him the ball, throwing him the ball down, behind the line of scrimmage. We're not going to get away with that this year. Even if we wanted to create plays for him, he's going to have to play at some point and produce down the field. So I'm okay. Over under, Eli, over under 25 receptions for Savion this year. What would you guess?
Unfortunately, probably under. I mean, obviously, if someone gets hurt, it'll be over. But like, the problem is that I think he'll definitely get more than 25 touches. but it's going to be carries. It's going to be like bubble passes that are technically considered runs, because a lot of his receptions were actually considered runs because they were thrown backwards. But I wish it would be more. But at the same time, truth is, it's not like, I don't know, it's hard because I would say Watson, Reed, and Golden aren't like huge reception guys, but I don't think that's their skill set. Maybe Watson. I just think that's the nature of Matt LaFleur's offense, where no one is getting a crazy amount of targets.
Right.
And who knows, right? Like, if Josh Jacobs isn't playing this year, I think Savion Williams is getting, let's say, 50 carries. Like, they should. Otherwise, that would be very foolish of them. Like, if you thought Tom Montgomery could be a running back, put Savion Williams a running back and see what happens.
His college tape running the ball is pretty fantastic. He's doing crazy moves, spin moves, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, for a guy his size, it's pretty remarkable what he can get done.
His agility, change of direction, and his size is ridiculous. So, they got to get the ball.
I agree with you, Eli. I kind of feel like our offense is more to like, we have 3 guys at 50 to 60 receptions, right? And maybe one guy at like 75. Like, we're not going to have 108 receptions for one player and then like 75 and 35. Like, that's not how this offense is built. Like, and you include Tucker Kraft in that. You think Golden, Reed, Watson, and Kraft between them should get about 200 plus receptions, right? And I don't think there's a world where one of them gets 80 and one of them gets 30. I think it's more they're all around that 50-ish mark somewhere in there. And I'm fine with that. And I'm absolutely fine with that. I don't need I don't need Devontae Adams numbers. I don't need 122 receptions from any of these guys. Like, that's not how I want our offense to work. It's, I think, more dangerous if all 4 of them are a threat versus you kind of have your go-to guy like Rodgers like to do, right?
Yeah.
So
I definitely, as long as it's, and this year I just think because we're not going to have Dobbs and Wicks on the roster, there's no reason why they shouldn't be playing a massive bulk of the snaps. So that's what I'm more care about. It's not even so much the targets. It's like, I love Bo Melton and it's fun and this, that, but like Bo Melton, Sky Moore, let's say the rookie, J. Michael Sturdivant, who I think for sure makes the practice squad, possibly makes the roster. Like, unless someone is hurt or it's like literally 3 snaps a game, like Watson, Reed, and Golden should be playing like 80+% of the snaps. Get Williams in there when you can. Yes, you'll have the occasional, Sky Moore deep pass, or, get Bo Melton in for a fun play or 2 a game.
I'm going to say Bo Melton's owning practices right now. The reports from practice, Bo Melton is the best receiver we've ever had on the team.
Yeah.
All right.
They just love Bo Melton.
Can I just say this, Doug? Stop talking about practice. I hate practice. I hate it when guys do good in practice.
The team is playing him a lot with the first team. He's getting first team reps.
Hey, everybody loves Bo Melton. He's an ultimate team guy. He switched to cornerback to fill a position last year. He's a great special teamer. He's going to get 12 receptions at most this year. We all know it. So, and that's fine. You need that guy. I think Sky Moore plays a bigger role than Bo Melton does. Well, maybe about the same, obviously outside of special teams. But I'm very happy with our wide receiver room, 1 through 4. And then having a guy like Bo Melton that's been on the team for a while, if somebody gets hurt, that can step in for a game and catch the ball 2 or 3 times, I'm excited. I love that. I'm also happy about that. Like, I'm happy we have that guy. So, I think our wide receiver room is a top 10 room in the NFL. It's just we need them to stay healthy. That has been the biggest problem, is the health of Reed and Watson. If they stay healthy, I think we're going to see a breakout year from Jordan Love. And whether or not we actually get Jacobs this year, I mean, that's still up in the air. LaFleur has come out and said that they're looking at all the tape and finding out what worked and what didn't work. And I think you guys would agree, since we're fans, we watch the tape every week, and bubble screens and short passes and end arounds haven't been working. They have not been working for this offense. So I hope LaFleur cuts a bunch of that junk out and we actually get the ball to Savion Williams, 5 or 6 or 7 yards down the field like we should, instead of all these short passes to him. Do it once or twice a game, fine. But it got to a point, especially like in that Lions game, even though we won away at Detroit, I feel like we threw 7 bubble screens in that game. It felt like we threw 7 or 8 bubble screens in that game. That's just an insane amount. And it doesn't work.
He loves doing those kind of plays where I think like it works once or twice, and then he's like, oh, well, we got it. Cheat code. This is always going to work. And it's like you said, you want to call that once or twice a game? Great. There's no, like, remember that Giants game, I believe in 2024 against DeVito that we lost?
Yes.
I think we ran like 4 double reverse jet sweep situations to Jaden Reed, including on the final 2-point conversion attempt that would have made it a 3-point game where the Giants hit a field goal, would have went to overtime instead of losing. And it's like, dude, you tried that like 3 times tonight. None of them worked. And then on a 2-point conversion from the 2-yard line, you're going to run a double reverse. So Jaden Reed gets the ball at the 10-yard line, and you need to have perfect blocking, perfect execution to pick up 2 yards. Like, that's just some of the things where I think LaFleur gets a little too cute, a little too ahead of himself, where like my biggest criticism of LaFleur is that I think he beats himself before opposing defenses get the chance to beat him. We're like, we'll have a great first half, and it's like, all right, just do the same thing. And then he's like, no, I got to switch it up because they're going to make adjustments. It's like, how about let the defense make an adjustment first, stop you, and then make an adjustment. Don't make an adjustment before they showed they can stop you.
Dude, that is been my biggest critique of LaFleur is not even necessarily the second half, but the third quarter specifically. If we have a lead, he comes out and it's like he takes his foot off the gas or he tries to get cute. And it's like if we have 1 or 2 good drives in the third quarter, we can take a big lead and get out ahead. And we always seem to shoot ourselves in the foot so that the other team can come back. And then we're good again in the fourth quarter when we have to be, right? And it's like
he tries to run the game out with like 13 minutes left in the third quarter. He's like, all right, we've got an 8-point lead. Let's run it out.
We better start running this clock down. And it's like, dude, step on their throat. Trust in Jordan Love. Score 35 points if you have to. He wants to win 21-17 every week when we should be winning 34-24 or something like that. Like
100%.
We should be scoring 34 points a game with this offense and with the talent we have and with his offensive mind, because he is a fantastic offensive coordinator. But just the way he calls plays drives me insane sometimes, especially in the third quarter. It drives me insane. So, okay, I hate it when people grade this stuff, but whatever. Let's do it for fun. Doug, put a grade on the Christian Watson contract, A through F. What do you think it is?
Yeah, it's getting an A. I thought they should have done it even sooner. It would have been an A+ if they did it sooner. But like the Packers, the thing is, the Packers need Watson more than he needs the Packers. He could just do whatever. He could go and be a free agent and make more money if he wanted to.
That's kind of a good point.
You're right. Literally, Watson could have held out. He could have done so many things because the Packers need him more than he needs them.
I mean, for everyone talking crap about this contract, if Christian Watson became a free agent this offseason, he would get the Alex Pierce deal or better.
Yeah,
he
Alec
would get
Pierce
$30 million.
Got more money, and like Alec Pierce is everything that people think Christian Watson is. Like Alec Pierce, I think, is a fun player, but he is literally a 30+ yard reception guy.
Yep.
And you're not throwing drag routes to Alec Pierce. You're not throwing comeback routes to Alec Pierce. You're not throwing dig routes. It's literally run straight, and he's really good at it. And I like Alec Pierce, but it's like Christian Watson could run an in-breaking route. He can run a drag route. You could even throw him the occasional screen, and he has shown the ability to catch a slant route, turn up field, and go all the way. Alec Pierce is the most prototypical. This is a purely deep ball receiver, and he just got $114 million. So
yeah, he had 43 receptions and 1,000 yards. Like
crazy.
43 receptions and 1,000 yards is insane. That's insane. Like that is a specialty wide receiver, like you said. Like
and not to take away from him, but it's just to show that Watson is not that. Like Watson can be a chain mover as well. Alec Pierce just isn't that guy, and he got obviously more money. So
yeah. No, I think 47 receptions. Sorry, I said 43. He got 47 receptions for 1,000 yards. So yeah, he's averaging over 21.3. And the year before that was 22 actually. So like, yeah, he is definitely a deep ball specialist or a big play specialist. And yeah, those guys deserve money too. They do deserve money, but I agree with you. I think Christian Watson is not a deep ball specialist. He can do way more than just that. He can definitely do way more than just that. So yeah, I'm going to give this contract a B+. Just because I think the money's good, but just because of the injury history, I'm always a little bit wary. And I know he's been good lately, but I can't necessarily give it an A for that. So I'm going B+. All right, Eli, what do you think?
I'll split the difference of you guys and go A-, because I do agree with Doug that like this is a contract that needed to happen, whether it was now, in a month from now, a month ago, like that had to happen. And for me, what puts it in the A category is the $31 million guaranteed, where it's like worst case scenario, he cannot stay healthy. Okay, $31 million, great. NFL teams waste that on, average like tackle play every other year. Like you'll be fine. So if Watson stays healthy and does what we think he can do, this contract is going to be such a joke of a steal that
100%.
again, by 2028, he will have renegotiated a bigger deal with another extension, and we're going to be thrilled about it. So I like the deal, but just like you said, you do have to factor in the health a little bit. It is just part of the reality of the situation. But I think he got that hamstring situation figured out. As much as it sucked that he tore his ACL, I think it forced him to just like go from the ground up, really figure out what's going on there. He had the whole different size muscles in each leg. That seems to be figured out. And now, like you said earlier in the show, I think he's just as much of a risk on paper. Well, not on paper, but he's theoretically as much of a risk as anyone else in football right now to get hurt. It's a violent game. Things happen. So I'm not the way it used to be a year and a half ago. I'm like, any play, Christian Watson could just, here's Christian Watson grabbing his hamstring. He's down, on no contact, nothing happened. I'm not nearly as concerned about that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it happen to Kraft and Parsons last year when, Parsons had some injury history, but never that particular one. Kraft has been relatively healthy his whole career. Yeah, you just don't know. I agree. Like, I want to see Christian Watson put it all together, because I always hate the, what if kind of guys. And like, we know how good he is. And I really hope this is his breakout year. I really do hope this is his breakout year, because I'm expecting MVP level play from Jordan Love based on what he did last year. And just, I think our offensive line is going to be better. So yeah, he's got Jordan Love. We got Watson. So, okay, Eli, do you got any more time, or do you got to go at this point?
Unfortunately, I got to run.
Okay.
I got to drive across town to look at an apartment. I am about to embark on my 4th move in 4 years, and I hate myself for it. It's just the way it's worked out. It has not been on purpose, but I've got about 3 weeks to find an apartment, or I'll be living in my car. So
Wow.
I do not want to miss this apartment tour. Yes. So I'm going to run, but I appreciate you guys having me again. Obviously, we did the pre-draft show. This was cool. And you know what? In a couple of weeks, when we get Kraft signed, we'll jump on and we'll do it again. If you'd have me, of course.
Anytime, Eli.
Yes, great.
Thank you.
I love that you just jump in and do this with us with this breaking news, Eli.
Yeah. So yeah, if anyone's watching, follow Eli on Twitter, Eli Berkovits. You guys can check him out also on Twitch as well, right? Are you on Twitch or no?
No, just mostly Twitter, but you can check out my writing at packreport.com. I actually posted an article today. Seems like I didn't notice, but a lot of my themes I've been writing about are a little anti-Matt LaFleur. And it's not anti, it's more just like it's time for him to get the job done in a bigger way, because I think that the pieces are there, the talent is there, and I think a lot of the failures have come down to him, unfortunately. So sort of what I wrote about today, potentially what I wrote about last week, and it might be what I write about next week, but until he can, like we said, coach a full 4-quarter game and not collapse, that's just kind of where I'm at with him right now. So
dude, brother, same. Like when I see the stats that like 2 of the last 3 times a team has blown a 4th quarter lead with a 97% chance to win, and it's like the Packers, and I'm just like, like he drives me insane. I love Matt LaFleur. I love his offensive mind, but he has got a lot to work on. He does. Yeah. And even the way he hires coaches sometimes bothers me. I think he gets in his own way a lot. And I don't think it's unfair for Packers fans to call him out. I know he has a lot of regular season wins, but to be a Packer fan and to be like, a bit spoiled, I want postseason wins. I don't want regular season wins, Matt LaFleur. I want postseason wins. So, 100%. We need to fix some things. Eli, thank you so much for coming, man. We really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you next time.
And
the Bears still suck.
they do. Bye, Eli. Oh man. All right, hype. So the Christian Watson deals come through. We're expecting Tucker Kraft to break the market for tight ends around now. They're saying potentially over $20 million. We both think he's worth it. So we've got the offense on lockdown outside of potentially the running back position, which we all know could be iffy this year. But that's a little bit like, that's an unknown. Let's talk about something else that is known. that was a problem last year, and the offensive line.
That's
So
what I
now-
want to talk about all the time.
I know you do. I know you want to talk about the offensive line and how bad it is. So
But
let
I'm
me
kind of excited about it a little bit.
All right, let me set the stage here. Okay, we don't know who our running back's going to be. It could be Marshawn Lloyd. It could be somebody off the
It
street.
could be
We don't
Stevan
know.
Williams.
There's too much speculation. Okay, what we do know is we got Jaden Reed locked up. We got Christian Reed locked up. We got Golden and Savion Williams for the next 3 years, and we're about to get Tucker Kraft locked up for probably 4 years. So we are going to have offensive weapons locked up. We got Zach Tom locked up as well, who was injured last year. What about the rest of the offensive line? What do you expect from them this year? And is it the actual key to our success going forward?
I think the coaches are aware that our offensive line is a problem, even like Anthony Belton with his inability to pass block. So like right now they have in practice because Zach Tom is out. What's up, Soder? Zach Tom's out, right? He's still injured, but he'll be back soon. They got Belton at right tackle and Jaeger Burton at right guard. And they don't use, and with the first team, they don't, they have a lot of guys they could put at right guard right now and off the bench, or they could move Sean, whatever over. They almost never put rookies in with the first team right away. This is extremely rare for the Packers to do. They're very conservative about this. And now it might be just like, Zach Tom's out, let's give him some reps. But I think the vibe is that they really like Jaeger Burton a lot, and they really believe in this guy. They think he's the opposite of Anthony Belton. He's not like the big mauler, but he's quick and he's fast, and he's like what you want for a Packers offensive lineman traditionally, and he fits it perfectly. And so I think the Packers realize going for Belton was a little bit rough, and they need to shift a little bit back more to the outside zone, the offensive lineman that can pass block, because they know Jordan Love is going to make us win games. The running game would be nice to have it there, but we can still win with Jordan Love.
Yeah, and to be fair, when we took Belton, I wasn't a super fan of the pick.
I was
not necessarily the player, but how soon we took him, because he is a project, and we knew he was a project when we took him. But we also took him as a project with the idea that Elton Jenkins would be good at center, which he was not. That Sean Ryan would be our starting right guard, and Banks would be our starting left guard because we just paid him. And none of that happened. Banks got hurt, and he wasn't very good. Jenkins was basically atrocious at center. And then so we had to move Sean Ryan over. And to be fair, I thought Sean Ryan did decently well. Yes, his pass blocking grade at center was pretty piss poor for the season, one of the worst for centers in the NFL, but he's not a center. Yeah. And he's always kind of been bad at pass blocking. We've kind of worked on that with him, but he's been a good run blocker. But our offensive line actually went up. Our performances went up when we put in Watson at center. And Jay says Watson overpaid, cry about it. Sorry, we're not going to cry about it. We're actually excited about it. We're very happy about it. So, yeah, that's okay. You guys can think what you want. If you think he's overpaid, that's fine.
If I get him for 10 games a season, I'm fine, as long as it's the playoffs.
Well, I'd like 14 or more if I'm being honest.
You give me 10 games and then also playoffs, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'd like 14 or more. But I don't think we overpaid Watson at all. And I think if you look at the guarantees
so often nowadays, like nitpicking about it's just silly.
The guarantees on the contract makes it a very good contract for the Packers.
Yeah, it's not like it's some fully guaranteed thing.
You got to look at the details to actually see what it's worth. And it's a very good contract, dude. The Packers are cap maestros, guys. Like, you can talk all you want about how they did this or overpaid that. Everybody said we overpaid Jordan Love when he got that contract.
Yeah,
and guess what he did last year?
Every contract we've ever done in the past 5 years are like overpaid. Everybody.
Yeah. And look at what Jordan Love is making this year, guys, when he was second in EPA and fourth in QBR last year and second in you guys want to talk about how good Caleb was in the fourth quarter? Do you know what the second most fourth quarter game winning drives for a quarterback last year? Just guess, since Jordan I'm a Packers fan. It was Jordan Love. That's right. So yeah, he's way underpaid right now. So Schroeder says combined wide receiver room cap hit looks really good for the next few years. It absolutely does, because remember, we got Golden and Savion on rookie contracts, and Jaden Reed gave us an awesome hometown discount. So we're paying Watson 27, Jaden about 16 to 18 on average, and then we got 2 rookie contracts. Yeah, the wide receiver room cap hit is fabulous. It's fantastic, guys. So, but all right, we got off topic. Let's go back to the Packers offensive line, because as I was saying, the Elton Jenkins situation didn't work out. It didn't. He should have stayed at guard. He's just better there. We had to move Sean Ryan over to center, which means Belton had to go in and start. Because remember, we put Jordan Morgan at guard at first, and he didn't do a great job there. I will be honest, but Jordan Morgan is a finesse guy. He should be on the edge. He's much more of a pass blocking guy. He is not a power run right guard. He is a finesse tackle on the outside on the left. And I think he's going to be really good this year. Well, okay, that's an exaggeration. I think he's going to be much better this year than Rasheed Walker was last year. If
the
you actually look
from
at
camp is that he looks pretty good so far.
He looked good in camp last year at left tackle, but we forced him into the right guard situation because of the injuries on offense, right? Because we didn't have a ton of depth on the interior. Monk didn't step up, right? So we had to move Ryan. Banks was injured. And so we put Jordan Morgan in a position he's never played before, which is right guard, right? And now he's back to left guard. Banks is healthy again. We'll see how that works out. That may or may not be good. Sean Ryan is now at center, and then we got Yeager Burton, who can play center or guard, right? And we got Belton as well, who can play guard or tackle. Like, this offensive line is still getting better. All these guys are young outside of Zach Tom, who's a fantastic right tackle who happened to miss almost half the season because of injuries. People forget about that too, is that Zach Tom, our by far best offensive lineman, was also out for a big chunk of the season last year. So our offensive line was not good last year, and that affected the running game. It affected the passing game, but somehow it didn't stop Jordan Love from putting up ridiculously good, efficient numbers all year on third down as well, and having 4 fourth quarter comebacks.
This is a very good point you bring up, because I was at shout out Tom Grassi's 30 for 30 last night in Denver, right? I was there. I talked to like maybe 100 people there minimum, right? Yeah. Just having conversations, interviewing people, doing little fun videos. And a lot of people would just randomly say like, oh, I hope Jordan lives up to expectations this year. He gets paid a lot of money. And I'm like, for the amount they're paying him right now, if you look at his analytics, he's already bypassed that. And I'm like, and every time I brought up the O-line, they were just completely dumbfounded. Like, they had no clue the offensive line was rated in like the top 5, bottom 5 of the league. They had no idea. And I'm like, how are you so completely oblivious to all things happening around Jordan Love, but so critical of him at the same time? Like, his offensive line was terrible, and they're just not even thinking about that at all. But you look at other people, Caleb Williams' offensive line was like all-time great pass blocking offensive line. It was so, and no one even considers any of these things.
It was at the end of the year considered the second best offensive line by metrics. Their Tooney won the offensive line of the year award. They were second in rushing yards per game. So there was a lot of stuff that was going very well for that offense, actually outside of Caleb Williams last year, right? So, yeah. And again, congratulations to the Bears. I think they're going to be good. I'm just not that worried about them, particularly this year. But I think in the future with Ben Johnson, they're going to be very dangerous. So let's go back to the Jordan Love contract. So this year his cap hit is $36 million. Next year it's $44 million. And when he signed that contract, everybody was giving the Packers shit that they overpaid him. How does that look now, guys? Because right now he's massively underpaid. And guess what? In 2028, yes, it goes up to $75.75 million. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to sign him to a long-term contract before that even takes place, right? They're going to sign him to a long-term contract, which he has more than earned already. But we're going to get him for 2 more years on a ridiculously cheap salary for a quarterback before we re-sign him. So, yeah, that contract looks amazing right now. It looks genius at the moment. And my hope is, and I'm not going to say I guarantee it, but my hope is that 2 years from now, we're saying the exact same thing about this Christian Watson contract. Because if, and it's a big if, we admit that, if he stays healthy, if you look at his metrics last year and his per play last year, he was a top 10 wide receiver in production, but he's got to do it the whole year. He has to. Otherwise, right, some of these haters are going to be right about how much we pay him. So, Hype, let's give an example of what I would like to see from Christian Watson. So here's his actual contract, guys. $110 million, 27.6 AVV and AAV, excuse me, $31 million guaranteed, and through the 2030 season. Now, a guy who got a similar contract last year, T. Higgins, right? T. Higgins' numbers are better, no doubts. Now, he's the second best wide receiver on his team, but 74 receptions, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards. He had a down year, 656, but then 900, 846. And again, remember, Burrow's hurt for some of these years too, so his numbers might even be better if Burrow is healthy. But this is kind of what I want to see out of Christian Watson. I don't need him to put up Jamar Chase numbers. I just want T. Higgins numbers from this guy. And for me, that would be worth the money because we don't really focus on one wide receiver offensive system, right? We want 3 or 4 guys with 60 plus receptions. That's at least what I want from this offense. So if we got a 70 reception, 900 yards, 7 touchdown to 10 touchdown season out of Christian Watson, I'd be perfectly fine with that on this money. Hype, how would you feel? Okay, now that Christian Watson is right, our second most expensive offensive player, I think he's right actually above Zach Tom. Like, what do you expect from him this year? What would be a good season for you for Christian Watson?
Shout out to my homie Marcello, who is a content creator. One of good buddies. I think, okay, if Christian Watson, even though people say his numbers weren't like great last year because his per game was like 5 receptions, 60 yards or whatever, they think a number receiver needs to get like 100 yards. I think if he maintains what he's doing now from last season, perfectly acceptable. Because a big part of his job is just to go pull the defense downfield. And the thing though is that I expect it to be slightly better because I think the offensive line will block better for Jordan Love and give him a little bit more time to get comfortable, to give more shots to Watson down the field. And they kind of sort of have to because Dobbs is not there. The other guys, there's not that many tall receivers that he can take shots to down the field, maybe Savion a little bit, right? So I think the numbers will go up a little bit. Now, if they stagnate or even less than last year, I'll be a little bit disappointed just because I think the things I just said. But the thing is that I might be a little bit disappointed, but the problem is we need him on the team so bad to have the deep threat to pull the defense back.
Yeah.
I kind of don't really care. We have to have him on the team.
Our EPA per play was a massively better with him on the field than with him.
Yeah, the EPA is just night and day with him being existing there.
It was, I think Eli said it was 1.2 with him off the field and 1.8 with him on the field. Now that doesn't sound like a big difference, but that is a massive jump for an offense to have 1.2 to 1.8. He even said it goes from the 17th best offense to the 10th best offense. That is a big difference in your offensive production based on one player being on the field with those metrics, right? Now, and again, I've said it before, there wasn't a single down last year where Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Tucker Kraft were on the field at the same time. Not one offensive down with those 3 guys. And I'm telling you, Jordan Love, as good as he was last year, with a makeshift, somewhat failure of an offensive line, with Josh Jacobs, who got an injured foot last year, who was on a pitch count for a while and didn't have nearly the season he had the year before, right? Losing Tucker Kraft, getting Watson at half the season, having Jordan Reed out for part of the season, he still put up unbelievably efficient numbers. Unbelievably efficient numbers on third down and overall. So I expect this offense to cook, and I think, Doug, it might be somewhat of a blessing in disguise. I hate to say it because we don't know what's going to happen, that we might not be able to run the ball as much this year because I want to put my trust in Jordan Love. I want him with the football, and I want him throwing the ball 35 times a game, minimum 35 times a game. I don't want to see 21 of 27 or 24 of 29. I want to see 24 of 35 even, or 27 of 38. I'm fine with that. Even if his completion percentage goes down a little bit, I want him taking shots. I want him putting the defense on their back heels, and I want us to be aggressive because I think we should be scoring 30 points a game with this offense. I really do think we should be scoring 30 points a game. They're shorter again. The amount of deep triple coverage Watson draws tells me Reed might have the monster year. That is exactly where I was going to go next, is that I don't need Watson to get 70 receptions. I'm fine with him being 5,807 because what he brings to the offense is he opens up the field when he runs that safety down, right? Which means Tucker Kraft can cook, Jaden Reed can cook, and hopefully our golden boy, Matthew Golden, can cook underneath this year and get those 7, 8, 13-yard receptions, right? I'm perfectly fine if Watson doesn't have a 70, 80-yard or 80 reception, 1,000-yard season, and people are going to say, oh, you massively overpaid him for that. No, dude, get me 800 yards and 6, 7 touchdowns. I'll be perfectly fine with that because what I need is this offense to score 30 points a game. That's what I need. And I am happy to pay Christian Watson $27 million a year if he can help us get there. I am more than happy to do that.
Yeah, we might have a situation where Reed or Golden are alternating, getting 100-yard games or whatever. Maybe Reed more often, right? Because Watson or Golden's the outside receiver, but Watson's just getting 50, 60 on some deep passes or whatever because they're going to be the guys that are matched up against the second and third string cornerbacks, right? And running the crossing routes. And who's going to be able to actually cover Matthew Golden as a second or third string cornerback? Not a whole lot of people will be able to keep up with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And Golden, again, being our 2 wide receiver, Jaden in the slot, Golden's maybe not the best run blocker either. So maybe we're not running as much because we don't have Dobbs out there, who was a decent run blocker, or maybe we see more Savion Williams than we're actually expecting because of his run blocking abilities.
We got lots of haters.
Yeah, that's fine. I love it. Bring the hate. Everyone's hating on the Packers this year, and I don't blame you. We lost our last 5 games. We choked in the playoffs. All that stuff happened. But guess what? The Packers have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You can book it right now. We have one of the best defensive players in the NFL. You can book it right now.
When has Watson had bad hands? Like, he did the first 2 seasons, his first season, right? But like, if you watched last year, he did not.
No, his drops have gone way down. But to say he has great hands, I think would not be a fair statement. To say he has decent hands is fine.
PFF rated him the number 6 best wide receiver in the entire league last year. So like
on per play,
have bad hands, that's not even possible for that to happen.
No. And I know everyone's worried about him being hurt. Guys, we're worried about him being hurt too. Trust me. But again, it's said all the time in contracts.
Everybody on our team is hurt, okay? Tucker Kraft.
Are we not going to pay Tucker Kraft because he got hurt last year too, even though he's leading the league in yak yards?
Michael Parsons now because he got an ACL.
Yeah, we're going to pay him. Most catches this season, 36. I think that's actually incorrect. I believe he had 41.
He went to sign his check and dropped it.
That's actually pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny.
That's a good burn.
That's good. Yeah, I'll give you that one. That's actually pretty good.
That's a good burn.
Yeah, that is a good burn. So, but again, you pay guys based on what you think they're going to do, not what they've already done. Everybody knows this with quarterback contracts, with offensive lineman contracts, even defensive contracts. Like, you pay a guy on what they're going to do the next 4 years. So the fact that the Packers are willing to pay him $27 million, guys, they're smarter than us. They are smarter than us.
Okay, this is the thing.
They know what players are worth. If there's any franchise in the NFL that you could pick that doesn't overpay players, don't you think it would be the Green Bay Packers, or at least somewhere in there? We are the cheapest, most old school franchise there is. We don't overpay people, guys.
Devontae Adams walk because we offered him like $10.
Dude, we didn't sign Romeo. We could have had Romeo Dobbs for $17 million. We could have had Romeo Dobbs for $17 million. That's the story anyway. Okay, that's speculation. But he wanted more, or he wanted at least 17, and I think we were offering him like 5 or 15 or 16. And he went and signed for 19 with the Patriots. Again, good for him. So, guys, don't you think if the Packers didn't want to pay 19 to Romeo Dobbs, who led our team in receptions last year, but they're willing to pay 27 to Christian Watson this year, don't you think there's a reason for that? Don't you think there's a purpose for that? Like, again, I understand the production. I understand Christian Watson has been injured. I understand that it's a liability. I understand that it could be a problem in the future, but I'm not going to lose a wink of sleep over this contract. Not one.
There's something that everyone's missing, Derek. And the thing is that, like, everyone that actually watches Packer games and watched like every game last year, we all know Watson was a big reason we were winning any of those games. Anytime we needed a big play, 70-yard touchdown, 50-yard touchdown in the middle of the game, and got the team right back where it needed to be, in the lead and whatever. And he played really well. PFF graded him the 6th best receiver in the league. Yes. All the evidence showed he was very consistent and very good last year. And in previous seasons, yes, he wasn't quite as good, but he has gotten better consistently every single year. And all these guys that are hating are bringing up stats from like 3 years ago. That's like when he was like a rookie.
Dude, let him hate, because you said it earlier. When Tucker Kraft got hurt, who was our most dangerous receiver at that point, Christian Watson came back from his injury and immediately became our most dangerous receiver. We didn't get to see Watson or Kraft on the field together last year. Like, these two guys are our most dangerous weapons in the passing game. It's just a fact. So we have yet to see the full potential of this offense. And I hope he stays healthy. I understand the concerns of everyone that says, hey, he hasn't been healthy. That's a concern for me too. I get it. But as Hype keeps saying, when he's healthy, our offense is
you want to hear something else so cool? He came back from his ACL early and produced like an all-pro wide receiver right away from the fucking start.
Right.
Like,
And that's
Super
what
Bowl
they're
health?
paying for, guys. They're paying for him to do that going forward.
How many people come back from an ACL and literally just jump out of a cannon and play like an all-pro, like right away?
Right. Like in 2 years from now, if Christian Watson stays on the same trajectory and has the same stats he's had the last 2 years, and you guys say it was a bad contract, at that point, I will agree with you. At that point, I will agree with you. But as of today, based on what I've seen recently, and based on what he does for this offense, and based on what I think the offense is going to look like this year, this is a perfectly good contract for Christian Watson. It is actually a really good contract for the Packers when you look at the guaranteed money. It's actually a very Packer-friendly contract because guess what we do? We do team-friendly contracts. We are the best at that. We are the best at team-friendly contracts. So, like, guys, everyone who says the Packers overpaid, just pay attention to how the Packers do business. The Packers don't overpay. They just don't do it.
They let people walk. They're like Clay Matthews.
And what they'll do is they'll backload the crap out of something so that, like, if they do have to cut you or if they do have to work out the contract, guess what? They didn't overpay you in the first place, right? So, like, dude, these guys know what they're doing. The Packers salary cap financial team is one of the best in the NFL. It's just a fact. They are one of the best. So
I've never seen not one person has said, "Oh, 31 guaranteed is too much." No one's even mentioned it. Why? Because it's not too much. It's actually a good deal for the Packers.
Again, in the NFL, because contracts are not guaranteed, what do you look at? You don't look at the total, you look at the guarantee. What's the guaranteed money? It makes all the difference in the world, which is why the fully guaranteed Deshaun Watson contract is the worst contract of all time by a mile, right? Because it was fully guaranteed. And having a $31 million guarantee on an injury-prone wide receiver is the smartest way you could possibly do a contract. And you can look at the AAV all you want. I'm perfectly fine with it because if he doesn't produce, guess what? It's not going to hurt us eventually.
Dave texted me and he said, "I'm not worried about him being hurt. I'm looking forward to it."
Bears fan, bring it on, dudes.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't say he's underpaid, Schroeder. I think I was hoping for him to get about 25, 26. He got 27.3. Like, whatever. Does it really matter at the end of the day? Does it really matter at the end of the day? A common sense
person might say, let's wait a little bit and see how he plays this year, make sure he doesn't get hurt again, and then we'll resign him. But if you sign him in the middle of the season, he's playing well, you're paying him $30 million at that point because he can just be like, I don't want to sign this. I'm going to go to free agency. Now you are screwed.
Absolutely. No, if we sign him 32. Well, and here's the other thing, too, is we just let Romeo Doubs walk. Like, if we wait until after this year to sign Christian Watson and he has a good year and he's asking for 33, 34, he wants to be a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, I guarantee you the Packers aren't giving it to him. Like, because we just don't do that, right? We just don't do that. So signing him now at 27 for the next 4 years with a low guarantee is very team friendly, believe it or not. I know the haters don't want to believe it, but it is. That is just the reality of the NFL. Alec Pierce, who had 47 receptions last year. Yes, he had a lot more yards, but he had 47 receptions last year, just got paid more. So this is what these guys get paid now. This is what they get paid now. So, all right, let's see the next one. Watson never actually hit those numbers.
Let me just share this for a moment.
He's actually better than that. He's better than that. What are you trying to show?
I'm going to show you guys the guys that say, "Oh, he has so many drops." Here, let's look at it.
Okay. Oh, you want to look at his stats actually?
Hold on. Look at how many drops he had. 1 drop the whole season.
Oh, really? That's it? I mean, okay, I'm going to say 2 though because the one where he turned around and it hit him on the helmet, I'm counting that as a drop. I'm counting that as a drop.
Sure. Okay, 2 drops the whole entire season.
Yeah, but that's really good. That's actually really good. Wow, 1 drop.
This is the thing. Everyone's going off of stuff from 3 years ago. Even the year before this year, he was not getting drops. The last 2 years, he was not dropping the ball.
And let's put this in perspective, guys. 35 receptions for 611 yards and 6 touchdowns is an elite amount of production on 35 receptions. Now, we need him to get 60 to 70 of those and actually get elite production.
Okay, this is the thing.
Projected elite production.
He's saying, oh, his number is only 36 catches. Guess what? The Packers offense is meant to be like pass the ball around to 5-6 guys. That's how
we were just saying. I don't want a 90 reception guy.
So other guys get open.
I'd rather have 4 guys with around 60 because I want Golden to get touches. I want Reed to get touches. I want Watson to get touches. I want Kraft to get touches. And I also want Lloyd to get touches out of the backfield on receptions, or Jacobs if he happens to play this year.
He's saying that the drops are easy catches. Dude, he had one drop. Look at this, is literally on the screen in front of you. One drop.
This guy's just rage baiting you. He's putting like 40 comments in. So don't worry. He's just rage baiting you. But here's the deal. Christian Watson got paid a good amount of money. Has he earned it? That's up for debate. But projected, do you think he's worth this money? I think projected he is worth this money. Hype obviously thinks he's worth this money. So I'm happy. And dude, we just got Jaden Reed on a sweet hometown discount. Look at the Jaden Reed contract extension for everyone that says the Packers overpay people. $16.7 million in AAV, right? The 29th highest paid receiver after he, last year he was hurt, so he didn't play as much, but he was really good his first 2 years. I think he's going to be good again. This is another really good contract, team-friendly contract. Thank you, Jaden Reed, for giving us a hometown discount. We love you, man. You are awesome. I hope you stay healthy. 11's my favorite number, so rock it. But yeah, dude, like the Packers salary cap situation is not a problem at all. It is not a problem at all. And remember when everyone says, oh, you paid Micah Parsons all this money, you can't afford to pay a quarterback that much and a defensive end that much. Yes, you can. Obviously, yes, you can. And you can sign your wide receiver at $27 million a year. And we can pay our tight end at $20 million a year. And we can pay Jaden Reed at $16.75 a year. The salary cap is a fluid thing. It's not stopping them from doing business. They will find a way to make it work. Otherwise, they wouldn't sign these contracts. They know exactly what they're doing. And as I said earlier, we're basically getting Jordan Love at a discount right now because of the awesome contract we signed him to a year and a half ago that everybody said was a terrible contract, which now looks like one of the best contracts in the NFL for quarterbacks, if I'm being completely honest, right? So, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with what the Packers did. At the end of the day, I'm very happy that we signed Christian Watson today. I cannot wait to get Tucker Kraft signed. I want that dude signed next week. So good job, Packers, on this contract. Let's get Tucker Kraft signed. All right, Doug, I got to go too. Final thoughts on Christian Watson and the news so far.
Yeah, all the hate that people are giving make no sense. Like, there's no sense in any of the hate. Like, the Packers need this guy in their offense. He played super well last year. He was ranked number 6 by PFF. He did his job of the things he needs to do in the offense. He's very good at it. And if this was 30 million, I would not be shocked. I would have been 30 million is totally fine, because where the hell are you finding a 6'4" guy that can blow 70-yard touchdowns down the field at any moment in the game and stretch the defense? They do not grow on trees. There's like a couple of them on the planet. So he is worth $30 million a year for this offense. If you want to win a Super Bowl, you have to have him on your team for this offensive pass game to be clicking on all full cylinders.
Yeah. No, I love the contract. And hey, everybody that jumped in, thank you so much for watching today. Everyone that's here live, everyone that commented, even if you're rage baiting us, so what? That's football. That's what it's all about. Like, we love it. We love it, man. We love all the other fans and anyone that wants to watch. So please, if you guys would, like and subscribe to the Offensive Channel. We are here, the Offensive Show, excuse me. We are here every Sunday. We love to go wide. We love to go live, and we love to go wide down the field like Christian Watson. Soder, thank you for showing up so much. Deep balls are sexy. Yes, they are. I mean, we all know that. That goes without saying, but that's what this channel is all about, guys. And at Matka8190, hey man, thanks for showing up and commenting. I know you're rage baiting us, but it's fine, dude. We love you. Thank you so much for coming in. Everybody, please like and subscribe below. We'll see you every Sunday. We love to go and talk about football. We hope you come and join us. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.